Monterey Bay is a city where time flows slowly, like a seagull gliding over the water. Even the waves here seem calm, as if they don't want to disturb the prevailing peace. But it's in places like this that storms happen, not on the outside, but within. Sarah Devlin is the creative director of the agency Verve, a specialist in big ideas, slogans that become songs, visuals that sell millions. Her mind works around the clock. She manages projects in 3 cities at once: New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. But her life outside the screen is modest: a house by the ocean, a husband who's a firefighter, a 9-year-old son who loves dinosaurs and chocolate toast. Her husband Derek is a hero: strong, simple, reliable, the kind of man who builds houses, saves people, puts up shelves, the kind who never asks, "What do you really want?" Sarah loved him, but every night when he fell asleep beside her, comfortable, warm, familiar, she lay in the dark, clenching her fingers, because other things lived in her head: fantasies that didn't fit into marriage, desires she never voiced, not because he was rough or indifferent, but because he was right, and she was different. Sarah wanted to be tied up, just once. She wanted to give up control, to be the object of passion, not the keeper of domestic comfort. But how do you say that to the man you eat oatmeal with, walk your son to school with, and meet his mother for Thanksgiving? She stayed silent, and her body stayed silent too. But inside, a crack was growing. Tobias appeared like a crack in the mirror. A new client, the creator of the perfume brand Écorché, dressed all in black with a devilish smile and eyes that seemed to know forbidden things. He wasn't playing a role, he was living it. Their first meeting was in a hotel lobby over cocktails. She studied his brand. He studied her face. "You have the eyes of a woman who wants more than she allows herself," he said. Sarah smiled. It was bold and dangerously pleasant. Their meetings became regular, professional, formally, but every word had an undertone. Every glance, a weight. Every touch, a consequence. When she finally found herself in his room, there were no words, only hands. The words came later when he asked, "Tell me what you want." And she told him all the things she could never say to Derek: "Tie me up, hold me by the throat, tell me I'm yours, do it rough, hard, real." He wasn't surprised. He just did it. And for the first time, she didn't feel guilty, only alive. At home, she was a mother, a wife, a homemaker. In his room, she was a woman unafraid of the dark. Sarah lived in 2 worlds: the one where she was responsible and the one where she was real. But this division couldn't last. Monterey Bay is a small town. Glances become suspicious, and one evening, Liam said, "Mom, you smell different." She froze, because it wasn't the scent of shampoo. It was the scent of another man. Evening fell on Monterey Bay with the coolness of the ocean breeze. Sarah appeared in the living room, where 2 men were already standing. Her husband, Derek, in his firefighter's uniform with a faint smell of smoke, and Tobias, impeccably dressed, as if he'd come from another world. They stood silently, sizing each other up, like 2 elements that had accidentally met in the middle of an ordinary plane. Derek held his hands apart, not aggressively, but not exactly welcoming either. His eyes, hardened by years of fighting fires, searched for truth in the stranger's gaze. Tobias was calm, too self-assured, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. It seemed to say, "I know something you don't, and it's beyond your control." Sarah stood aside, feeling the tension pulse inside her. She wanted to run, but her legs kept her in place, as if she were in a play among desperate actors. The men were silent, and that silence weighed more than any words. Later, when they went to the kitchen, Derek offered to pour everyone a drink. This gesture was more than a gesture. It was an attempt to save what could be saved, or at least delay the fall. Tobias slowly looked around the house. Photos, children's toys, souvenirs from sea trips. There was a hint of curiosity in his gaze, but no surprise or judgment. Maybe he really did understand that this family was as fragile as crystal, and that betrayal here was just a crack on the surface. After a few sips, a strange lightness arose between them. They exchanged words without words, glances, gestures, expressions. Derek turned out to be not as simple as he seemed. He smiled when Tobias accidentally broke a glass, and in that moment, he felt that they weren't enemies. There were just two stories that had become strangely intertwined. Late at night, when Sarah went to bed, Derek and Tobias stepped outside. The city lights blurred in the fog. Tobias reached out with a lighter and set a small pile of dry leaves by a tree on fire. The flames spread quickly, casting shadows on the house walls. Derek watched silently as the fire devoured the leaves. There was something symbolic in that fire, cleansing or destruction, but it wasn't clear which. Finally, Tobias sighed and turned away. He said goodbye without words and disappeared into the darkness, and Derek stayed, watching the smoke curl in the night air. The next morning, Sarah found neither a suitcase nor perfume. Liam played quietly, noticing nothing. Derek sat in a chair, holding an old photo. Her, him, their son. And in that moment, Sarah understood. She could run, or she could stay. But the fire in their home had not gone out for a long time.